Hey, I've given myself a challenge to make a really short video to just tell yoga teachers, yoga trainees, a little bit about pregnancy and yoga, just basics, and my 3 principles for working with pregnant students. So, my name is Claire Bassett. I am a yoga teacher trainer and a specialist in pregnancy yoga teacher training and postnatal. And I'm here with my dog and cat and another dog as well to quickly just fly through what I usually cover in my workshop. So if you are already teaching yoga, you may have had that experience where a pregnant student comes in and says, "I'm pregnant." And sometimes they don't tell you till the end of the class, and there's this kind of idea that, maybe there are different things, but you're not sure. And sometimes it can be a bit off-putting, or you can make you feel a little bit anxious that you're doing the right thing. So first of all, there's some obvious things, like forward folds when you're pregnant are not going to feel the same as when you're not pregnant, because if you just even put a pillow up your jumper, you're going to feel, the difference in body shape. And so that's one of the things that we can see from the outside. And sometimes there's a little bit of an information gap around yoga and pregnancy because we just don't have time to cover everything on the 200-hour, the general teacher training. So what can we do to support women for forward folding? Because other than the bump being in the way, we can still forward fold when we're pregnant, and we can still have that flexion movement. So one of the simplest things is just to take the legs out a little bit wider. So a little bit wider for forward folds, a little bit wider, nice wide knees, maybe for a child pose. Don't go down as far. And then coming into one of my first principles, this principle of stability and support, is the low back. The low back is going to have a lot of extra weight on it in for example, a standing forward fold. So what can we do to support the low back? And you might have an impulse to kind of say, use your core. But we don't want to use the core strongly here. We don't want to bring our navel to our spine because somebody's living in there. We want to keep space in the tummy. So what we want to do is keep length in the low back. So maybe we don't go in as far. And a lot of that is a little bit, about focusing more on stability and support rather than on going far into poses. So that's my first principle, is that stability. Information gap thing, like lying on the front, again, we know that that's not going to work. So lying on the front is something that we're probably not going to feel like doing anyway when we're pregnant. The first trimester is fine. Doing back bends, again, because of the stability and support, we don't want to back bend into our low back. So in general, we're not lying on our belly anyway. We're not doing a lot of movement or stretching into the low back. So we're really limiting our back bends to maybe upper thoracic. Sorry. And then the next thing I would say to you is slowing down. So not always easy for people. I'm just flying through the kind of physical. There's always the emotional stuff as well, and all the other life-changing things that go with pregnancy. But it's normal to slow down. We have lots of hormones telling us to slow down. We might be experiencing nausea. We might be, for first trimester anyway, very, very much tiredness. Second trimester, that can lift. But we're still not our bouncy self, and we will find that we'll get out of breath quicker. So the same in the yoga class. If you're used to doing a really dynamic cardio kind of sun salute warm-up, you might want to just slow down a little bit. Remembering that the heartbeat is beating for 2. So just taking things a tiny bit slower and using that to become more self-aware, notice what's going on, have that, building those brilliant things that we do in yoga all the time, the connection, the mind, body, spirit, and that self-knowledge, self-awareness. like we can teach all of that to pregnant students, and it's going to be amazing. So that's my second principle. I just realised how long I've taken to say all these things. Creating space is my third principle. So creating space, and again, this is something that could apply to any yoga class. These three principles, in fact, we can all benefit from some of the time. So, but especially in pregnancy, it's a hormone called relaxin. It's making all this instability in the body. Baby is growing, got 30 to 50% more liquid in our body, so fluid, blood, lymph. Our uterus goes from this tiny little pear-shaped thing in our sacral area to expanding up and like really expanding up, right up. And if you've been pregnant yourself, or you are at the moment, you'll know what that feels like. There's less space. It can feel like less space. There's to breathe. There's less space in the body, and there's a tendency for everything to be pulled forward. So unhook the jaw, stretching it out, movements, these kind of flowing movement that will create energy and space in the body. They're amazing for pregnancy. They're amazing for anybody after a tough day sitting at a desk as well. So they're my three principles. I know I've flown through. I've given you a little bit more information as well. Just to not end on all the things you can't do, remember the brilliant things that yoga does for you. It makes you feel more at home in your body. It helps you to deal with life changes. It teaches you to use your breath. All fours, amazing. So good for your back. So there's loads and loads of really great things that we can do. And we can really support pregnant people through pregnancy, and we can help. I know this is kind of next chapter, but we can help prepare for labour as well, and for that whole life change of becoming a parent. The things that we learn in yoga can help us with all of that, like dealing with sleepless nights, regaining your core strength, having a sense of yourself when your whole schedule gets thrown up in the air. That it is great and very exciting and good fun, and probably one of my favourite things to teach. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I am so glad that you've taken the time to watch it. If you have questions or comments and you want to share them with me, just give me a shout. You know where I am. I'm Claire Bassett, Yoga with Claire at gmail.com. Hopefully I'll see you on the mat soon. Namaste.